Assalamu alaikum. In today's video, we are looking at another brilliant game of Mikhail Tal, which he played against Robert Forbis. In this game, Mikhail Tal delivered a checkmate with the only one knight and two pawns. That is the reason why I am showing you this game. In this game, Mikhail Tal was playing as a white, so he started the game with the e4 and opponent played c5. Knight to f3, d6, open Sicilian, d4, c capture d4, knight captures d4, and now knight to f6 attack the e4 pawn, and knight to c3 defend the e4 pawn. Black played g6 is the Sicilian dragon variation which prepared the fianchetto of the bishop on the g7. And Mikhail Tal replied with the bishop to e3. It's a very common and powerful plan in these types of position. White will plan to play queen to d2 on the next move, and maybe later he can play bishop to h6. So white will try to exchange the dark square bishops, and once the dark square bishop gets exchanged, it's easier for the white to attack the opponent king side. And let's say black in this position play knight to g4. He tries to attack your bishop, but here's a little trap for the black. White can play bishop to b5 check, and now there are three options for the black. The first one is to play bishop to d7, but now white can play queen captures on g4, and remember you cannot capture it because of this pin. And if you capture the bishop, then knight captures on b5 is winning for the white because he gets the extra piece. So let's say you don't play bishop to d7, you play knight to d7, but again queen captures on g4 is winning because now this bishop is not guarding the g4 square. So the third and the best option for the black in this position is to play knight to c6, but now knight captures on c6, b captures on c6, and after bishop captures on c6, black is forced to play bishop to d7, but now bishop captures on a8, queen captures on a8, and again white is winning in this position because he is up in the exchange. He has the rook for the bishop. So that's a little trap you can play if your opponent in this position played knight to g4. Well, black didn't play this move and he simply developed his bishop on the g7, f3, knight to c6, and now queen to d2. Mikhail Tal is going with the plan, and queen to d2 also prepares this long side castling. Black plays short castle, bishop to c4, and now knight to d7, h4, and with the h4 move Mikhail Tal confirms that he is going to castle on the queen side, because whenever you castle on the opposite side of your opponent, the simple plan for the both players is to push the pawn and try to open your opponent's king, and Mikhail Tal is doing the same with the h4 move, and later he can play the h5 or the g4. Black played knight to b6 attacks the bishop, and Mikhail Tal retreats the bishop with the bishop to b3, and black again attacks the bishop with the knight to a5 move, and he can also play this knight to c4 attacks our dark square bishop and the queen. Mikhail Tal ignores it and he played h5 trying to open some lines on the king side, but black played knight b to c4 attacking the queen and the bishop. So Mikhail Tal played queen to e2 attacking the knight and also defending the bishop. So black played knight captures on e3, queen captures on e3, knight captures on b3, and now a captures on b3. And now in this position Mikhail Tal has these two knights and the opponent has the bishop pair. Black continue the game with the bishop to d7, long side castle, e6, f4 with a simple plan of f5 and trying to open some line, queen to b6, and Mikhail Tal played f5 going with the plan. So now stop a video and try to find which move is the best for the black. Is it e captures on f5 or g captures on f5? Well, if you play e captures on f5, then Mikhail Tal can play knight to d5 attacking the queen, and the best move for the black in this position is to play queen to d8, which is a very passive move. That's why it's not the best move for the black in this position, and black didn't play it. He played g captures on f5, and now e captures on f5, king to h8, rook h to f1, and now bishop captures on d4, rook captures on d4, and now e5. Black was thinking that Mikhail Tal would play something like rook to d3 or rook to e4, but he forgetted that he was playing against Mikhail Tal and he played queen to h6, sacrificing his full rook. As usual, black accepts the sacrifice, queen captures on d4, and now Mikhail Tal played queen to f6 check, king to g8, and now knight to d5. It's not a sacrifice because if black captures the knight, then queen to g5 check, king to h8, and now after h6 Mikhail Tal is winning. Let's say you stop it with the rook to g8, but now after queen to f6 check, it's forced to play rook to g7, then queen captures on g7 is a checkmate. That's why black cannot capture the knight, and he played rook f to e8, which is the big mistake of the game. He is thinking that he has stopped the knight to e7 check, and later if Mikhail Tal gives any check, he can play king to f8. But we will see in the game why this is a mistake. Mikhail Tal played queen to g5 check and black played king to h8. Remember, you cannot play king to f8 because of queen to h6 check, king to g8, and now after knight to f6 check, king to h8, and queen captures on h7 is a checkmate. That's why in this position king to f8 is not an option for the black, and he played king to h8. Mikhail Tal played h6, threatening a checkmate on the g7 square. Again, you cannot stop it with the rook to g8 because of queen to f6 check, rook to g7, and queen captures on g7 checkmate. That's why in this position black played e4, opening this diagonal for the queen, but Mikhail Tal again closed the diagonal with the f6 move, and again Mikhail Tal is threatening a checkmate on the g7 square. Finally, in this position black played rook to g8, which is the last mistake of the game, because now there is a checkmate by force in the next 3 moves. To stop the video and try to find it. Well, Mikhail Tal found it, and he played a brilliant queen to g7 check, sacrificing his queen. There are no options for the black, and he played rook captures on g7, and now h captures on g7 check. Again king to g8 is forced, and now knight to e7 is a checkmate. And that's how Mikhail Tal delivered a checkmate with the 1 knight and 2 pawns. So I hope you like this brilliant game of Mikhail Tal, and if you like it, please like this video, subscribe to this channel to get more amazing and inspiring content.